Hey guys, Kev here, and I just want to do my review of the Benchmade Anthem. And before I get into that, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed, who's been watching, who's commented and liked the videos so far. I'm having such a fun time making these, and just appreciate the support so much. So keep it up, guys, and I really do appreciate it. So, the Benchmade Anthem. So what do we have here? So what we have is a titanium integral with the axis lock. It's a little bit of a different axis lock, and I'll get into that. We have a thumb stud deployment on this guy. We have a knife that is, as of now, discontinued. They recently discontinued this. And they are a pretty popular high-end Benchmade model. It's probably the most high-end model they make that is not a gold class model. So just to get into it here, we'll start with aesthetics. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous looking knife. You have that drop point blade. You have the integral frame. You have the kind of silver accents here on the thumb studs pivot and on the axis lock bar there. You have this is actually the plain tie version of this. Normally this comes in a bronzed finish or bronzed anno titanium, but I was able to get one in the plain titanium. I don't know how many of these they made, if it's a rare thing or there was just two different models. I usually see the bronze one. So this is pretty cool. A clip on here I replaced. The standard clip is infamously known as the penis clip. Let me repeat that for you. The standard clip on here is known as the penis clip. And that's because it is shaped like a penis. Okay, so I replaced the penis clip with this MXG Gear deep carry clip. They actually make a couple of these. I'm pretty sure just a standard Benchmade clip will fit, but they advertise it as the Anthem clip. I fell for that. They make one with like a hole in the center, and then they make this solid one. I went with the solid. I think it looks good. This is a totally ambidextrous knife here. So that's one thing I very much appreciate about Benchmade. 90% of their models are completely ambidextrous because they use the axis lock, which you can operate from both sides, and then they always give you a reversible clip. So this can be operated left or right, completely the same. So that is very cool. It's definitely, as a lefty, that is something I appreciate so much. That is something I want to make sure I harp on in my reviews, is how lefty friendly a knife is. And this one is fantastic. And that pretty much goes for all axis model knives. So getting into the blade here, we have a 3.5 inch drop point. This is in 20 CV steel. It has a pretty heavy stonewash on there. To me, it's a little too heavy. It almost looks like it's dirty to me. I don't know if that comes across very well, but they could have gone a little lighter on it, in my opinion. But it does go pretty well with the plain tie handles. And maybe with the bronze handles, it goes a little better. But it is a very sweet blade. It is slicey, comes down to a very thin edge. I haven't measured it, but I'd probably put it around 20 thousandths like most of their stuff. It slices very well. Other than the stonewash being a little dark, the only other nitpick I'd have on the blade is I would prefer if they extended this out and made it a finger choil. That would be amazing. With the 3.5 inch blade, you would get much better grip there when you're doing something a little harder duty. but that's kind of a personal preference. Now, the action on this knife is phenomenal. It just drops and it'll do the thing where it kind of bounces off and makes these mechanical sounds. I'll shut up so you can hear it. It's just a very fun knife to play with. The sounds are amazing. It's very satisfying. And then when we're talking about the action, we could talk about the axis lock here, which is not your normal axis lock because this is an integral. So it's one solid piece of titanium, right? They couldn't just add the liners and pop the mega springs in and do the normal axis lock. So what they did was they inserted like a block on the inside of the frame. You could see the two screws there in the center on the back of the handle. I don't know if you can see those. And then inside you have this block, and there's a spring going from that up to the axis bar release. And when you pull on this, it drops the spring, compresses the spring, and your blade falls. And then when you extend it out, the spring extends, and that's what pushes the bar up and locks it in place. So it's a very genius style axis lock. They did a great job with that. I have not seen it before or since on any knife, not just Benchmade, any knife. So that is very cool. I wanted to talk about value. So this knife here was, I should say, because it's discontinued now. I think it ran for about $450, somewhere in that range, $440 to $460. They were on sale right when they discontinued, if you could find one. I saw Blade HQ had it for like $362, something like that. So that's a very good price for this. I actually picked this up on the secondary market. I traded my Spartan Harzy 3.25 inch Spartan Harzy folder from Spartan Blades, and I traded that plus a little bit of cash. I'm sorry, I traded that knife and I was given the Anthem and a little bit of cash to go with it. So I do see these on the secondary occasionally, and they usually are being sold around $350. So anywhere from $340 to $360, I would say you could find one on, on the Reddit knife swap or blade forums if you want to take a look. So that's kind of the value there. Do I think this knife is worth $450, what it was going for new? No, I do not. Even though it's a sweet integral titanium with 20 CV with an interesting lock, it is not a $450 knife. I mean, that puts it in Chris Reeve, Hinderer territory where your tolerances are amazing. Your machining is extremely good. And not that this isn't, but it's just not in that league. But for the 350 range that you're getting it on the secondary, I would say it is absolutely worth that. So if you see one out there and you have the means and you want to snag one, please go for it. I can definitely recommend it to a lefty, and I can absolutely recommend it to a righty. So it's a good knife. If you can get one, go ahead and snag one. That's pretty much it. I gave you my nitpicks. The Stonewash blade, I'd want a finger choil here. One other thing, I guess I should talk about ergos real quick. It is very good in hand. You can see it fills the hand. I have a large glove size hand. It's not too big, not too small. I get a very good grip on this knife. But I will say, I think I would prefer it to be a little bit smaller. It's a little bit big. If they had done 3.25 instead of 3.5 and kind of scaled this down a little bit, I think this knife would be in perfect territory. As is, it's a very good knife. saying it's not a good knife, but it's a little bit large. You know, you kind of have to, at least I do, I kind of have to readjust sometimes to get to the thumb stud and get enough pressure behind it because, you know, my hand is too low on the grip. And then it has this 3.5-inch blade, which is a little much. I don't need that much blade. I am starting to get into the larger blades, but I just think 3.25, this would have been the perfect knife. One last thing I want to mention about the blade actually is it does have a sort of semi-crowned blade. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's kind of crowned on top, but then on the sides, it's not rounded off. It's sort of a strange kind of half measure there. But it is cool that they sort of crowned it. So I wanted to mention that. But that is the Benchmade Anthem. I think it's a great knife. Certainly can recommend it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay sharp.